My name is Charles Hutton. I'm a piano teacher in the Southeast United States. Welcome to Classical Piano Tutorials. This video will be discussing playing both hands in Part B of Beethoven's Für Elise, specifically the third phrase where we have the 32nd notes that we talked about a couple videos ago. Here is the right hand by itself to review. And here's the left hand by itself to review. When learning both hands, notice the intervals that are going to be used. In order to notice them more clearly, I'll take out the top notes of the right hand and the top notes of the left hand, and you'll be able to see what's going on. Here is the phrase with both hands played pretty normally. Now, let's look at those intervals. Here, the left hand plays the root of the C chord, the third of the C chord, and the right hand plays the root of the C chord up high with finger 2. Because the left hand only plays 2 notes of the C triad, it makes total sense that the next melody note that the right hand plays is a G. So if you look at the intervals without those high notes, it would make a lot of sense that this happens. The next melody note is A followed by B, then C followed by D, then E. So we have an ascending scale. The left-hand notes that are moving in the chords are this. The left hand is moving down, the right hand is moving up. This is called contrary motion. I'll start on the A in the right hand. Those are the intervals between the two hands. We have a augmented fourth, a sixth, an octave, and a 10th, if we're comparing the bass of the left hand to the melody note of the right hand. Now, combining the previous beat will be like this. And now in slow motion. I recommend stopping the video now to quiz yourself on these intervals. Just look at your hands, play this skeleton version of this measure, and see if you can understand the intervals. Intervals are identified by finding lines or spaces on the paper or white keys on the piano, and they can be pretty simple. We just use whole numbers to describe them. Like I said before, this is a fourth, and you can see that there are the 2 white keys on the outside of the interval, the 2 white keys on the inside, and that's 4 white keys involved in total, so that's why it's called a fourth. This is called a sixth. This is an octave. Instead of calling it an eighth, we call it an octave. And this is a 10th. You could add them all up. It would be the 8 notes that are not being played, and then the 2 white keys on the outside, so that's 10 total. The 10th is also equivalent to a third because it has the same pitch classes of C and E, C and E. Theoretically, you could have an E in different places or a C in different places, and as long as the C is on the bottom, you could still think of it as a third. Now I'll put more of the notes back in. stop there. So I was playing the right hand complete pretty slowly, and I was playing the left hand only the descending bass notes. And then I got caught up and enjoyed myself, so I kept going. Left hand has thirds here, third, and then just a single C instead of C and E. Now, let's add the additional left hand notes. There's going to be G repeated notes, and there is an F that is added in as well. And then that F descends down to E. Okay, here it is with both hands for this first measure of the phrase. Whenever you get to the second measure, you see that the left hand plays C, E, G, and the right hand plays E, G, C. They fit together well. Because both hands are playing the same letters, they harmonize. Okay, the next beat, the right hand plays A. The A will fit well with left hand playing F and A. And then in the third beat of the measure, the right hand plays this, which harmonizes perfectly with the left hand third, because it makes a G chord, just with an extra octave distance between the two hands. Beethoven picks F as this melodic note here because it also fits into the harmony. It fits into a G7 chord, which increases the gravitational pull back to C major. All right, I'll start on the second beat of this measure. I prefer to end my excerpts on the next downbeat or the next beat so that I have a sense of the rhythm and the tempo of the final beat that I'm practicing. And I practice thinking ahead to the next position by doing that. All right, here is measure 2 of phrase 3 of part B. Here is measure 1 and 2. Here's measure 1 and 2 played quicker. Thankfully, measure 1 and 2 just get repeated, so if you can play that, you can already play that. This will be the end of this part of the phrase. It's a surprise E chord that will lead us back to the home tonality of the whole composition, A minor, and it can come as something of a shock, so I hope you relish the emotional impact of that. Now I'll play those 4 measures again, and then I'll finish on the E chord, and in just a minute I'll show you the timing for the pickup into this third phrase. Sometimes I play my surprises louder, sometimes I play them softly, based on how I'm feeling at the moment. Now, here's the pickup. It'll be like that, only there will be some left-hand notes to complicate things. You could count it 3E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a. Here will be the timing for the left hand. 3E and a 1. 3E and a 1. The left hand has steady 16th notes, but the right hand does not. The two hands will strike at the same time at the beginning of this pickup beat. Then the left hand will come halfway through and the right hand will come at the very end. So it will be left, right, both. Left, right, both. If you're going slower, then the switch between the two hands will also be slower. 3 E and a 1. 3 E and a 1. 3 E and a 1. And now I'll play the whole phrase. Good luck learning it. See you next time.